Greetings from the Erie Coast. This is Mad Chad. What are we going to talk about today? That's a good question. What is there to talk about? What is there to talk about? I don't know. Talk about the vax. How our own government is pushing, mandating. Well, they're pushing for a mandate. They're hinting at a mandate. They're actually calling for social media groups to censor, speak misinformation. What is misinformation? Like, so if I open up a discussion and tell you my opinion on the vax, that's misinformation. But if I say take the vax, that's not misinformation. Who the fuck are they to decide what is misinformation? As far as I'm concerned, the potatoes in charge, mashed potatoes for brains, they're illegitimate. Yes, illegitimate. It is a government that has been brought into power by misinformation, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, we already know. We've seen it. The Arizona audits, that there was some shit going on. It's proven. And even before that, we had experts in information gathering on the aspect of elections and all that provided proof that, yes, this was stolen. Yes, there was fraud. No, it wasn't just fraud. It was flat out just skullduggery and thievery. These guys pulled it off. And then they said, it's okay. Don't worry about it. We're in charge now. So, right there and then, that should tell you there's really nothing else to talk about, is there? So everything that they say, everything that they do, it's POTUS and SCOTUS, and as far as I'm concerned, it's all been compromised. All of it, compromised. So it is up to us, as Americans, to live our lives as we see fit. That is our right, and that's what we should do. So, fuck them. Whatever they say is just bullshit, as far as I'm concerned. And it's a way and means to manipulate and control us. The best way to not be manipulated and not be controlled is not to just don't give in. Okay? Don't go along with it. Do your thing. Fuck everybody else. Who cares? See, that's the thing about the social pressure, and peer pressure. We're seeing a lot of that peer pressure. You have to wear a mask. It's the law. It's not the law. It's required. And for the most part, we are law-abiding citizens. We like to go along with the program. We trust the program. We trust that they know best, because we don't. No, that's lazy. That's lazy. We haven't sat there and thought about it and go, wait a minute. This doesn't look right. What the fuck is this? that bullshit flag went up and we smelt it and carried on with our lives. Like, it was okay. Like, yeah, that's what we did. And, are we paying the price for it? Not yet. Well, yes, we are. Inflation. We're paying it. Lives, our liberties, our actual liberties being denied. I say denied because liberties are not something that you deny. Liberties are not something that are taken away. Liberties are not something that are given. It's free. It's free for me to do what the fuck I want, whatever I want. And if I want to, not wear a mask, not get a vaccination, that's my right. That is my freedom. That is my liberty. It is also my liberty to not buy into this crap. So, you don't have to pay. You don't have to do things that you don't want to do. See, we rationalize in our head the best course of action based on bullshit. Do you know why a majority of people jump out of buildings that are on fire? Well, yeah, it's on fire. Sure. But they believe, they rationalize that they can jump. If they can just make it over there, just flap their arms a little bit, or whatever, they'll make it. They'll survive. I can jump to that ledge, hang on with my puny little fingers. I can be like Rambo. I can be John Wick. Just start blasting. All that goes out to shit when reality says, guess what? And that's when it sets in. You're like, oh fuck, I'm gonna die. So, lemmings being let off a cliff. The herd mentality. Fear. I've seen this great quote. See if I can recall it. Fear isn't a reaction. It's an emotion. It's something that happens. We have fear. We have anxiety. That is there because it's a defense mechanism. It's a survival mechanism. And you can't get away from it. You're always going to have some fear. All right, it just happens. Shit. Oh no, fear. So fear happens. It's going to happen. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You can become desensitized to certain fear. Fear of heights. Fear of fighting. Fear of Jello. Through going through these actions that cause fear, these things that cause fear, and overcome them, basically experience. If you face something over and over and over again, you figure out a way to deal with it. You don't have fear with it anymore. There's always the risk, and there's that fear as well. So fear prevents a lot of people from bucking the system, from going against the norm, going against the grain, doing things that might cause them pain or discomfort, or death, or loss of limb, or just being ostracized, being talked down to. Being called a name, being accused of something.
You no good, slimy
There's that fear.
scumbag, piece of shit.
And that's very real, especially in this very massive social media kind of thing that we have. You know, somebody puts a little bad comment on your page here, and it ruins your whole day. You're like, fuck, I'm not a fucking asshole. Like, yes, I am. Okay. But courage
Opinions.
is a decision.
Oh my gosh.
Courage is a conscious decision to overcome that fear, do it anyway. That's courage. Being scared to fucking death, yet doing it anyway. That's courage. So, posting a video as we speak. So, what do we have fear? Why do we have fear of being labeled and being ostracized, being arrested? You know, being arrested is not that bad. Oh, but it messes up your credit score. It messes up your, pay your bills. It messes up your credit score. You go to jail and it messes up your life. You can't get a job. All this and that. No, bullshit. I mean,
That's going on your permanent record.
Sure. Everything is negotiable. Everything. I mean, seriously, it is. So, interrupted.
Yell it.
Oh, there it goes. Yeah, interesting. I posted a video, posting a video as we speak, about a shotgun. We'll see if it goes through. Totally safe, fully loaded, But in the middle of doing this video, boom! One of my neighbors is like, "Hey, I just put some free food on the 3rd floor." What? Really? Yeah. Yeah, just like that. So that's pretty cool. He got what he needed. I got a lot of shit too, and I left a lot of shit, and I threw in some cat food, a big old bag. Had a bag of cat preps, if you will. I just threw it on the table. Take something, leave something. So is my idea. But fear is being used. They're using this fear against us, and all they have to do is be assertive. Those in authority that have to use authority know this. They know this. They use it. It's taught. It's taught. Be assertive. Be commanding. And usually you get shit done. Usually you get people to do what they don't want to do.
Also, don't give options.
Interrogators do it all the time. Hey, look, I'm really trying to help you here. You have to sign this paper saying that you did this, or you're going to jail, and your whole family's going to jail. Meanwhile, they're lying. But they get these people to do it. Pull over. Can I search your vehicle? I really need to search your vehicle. Do you have anything to hide? So you don't mind if I search your vehicle? I'm going to search your vehicle. Step out of the car, please. I'm going to search your vehicle. We don't realize, a lot of people don't realize, that you can say, no, I do not consent to searches. Why do I have to step out of the vehicle? I'm not stepping out of the vehicle.
Of course, they can still search a vehicle if they want to. But they better have
No.
probable cause.
don't get out of your car. There's no reason for you to get out of your car. You know, the only reason for you to get out of the car is because they want you to. And yeah, they can get you for non-compliance and this and that, and whatever. You can fight that in court. There's court. And you can say, I was being harassed. I felt, why do you let them search your car? Because I don't want to. I want to go. I want to go about my day. I'm traveling. Why are you impeding my progress?
Can I go now?
I just checked the mail, and the mailman's here. Great. Isn't that the way it works? But dealing with people that are authoritative and commanding, that's all they got. Is I'm going to tell you what to do because I have a perceived power over you. When everything inside your soul is saying defiance is the best way to handle this. The courage to have defiance. Yeah, it's better with strength in numbers. And most of society is going to go along with the plan. Because that's what they do. I mean, that's what we do. We like to be, if you're a member of society, which we all are, even if you're hiding. Well, I guess that's there's a few exceptions out there. But any kind of social media, any kind of social interactions, be it economic or just, commonplace interactions, you have to deal with that authority that tells you do not defy. I used to love that show, Defiance. Maybe about the game. Lost my ass on that one, didn't I? But discontinuing the game. Now I have a game that doesn't work. Pretty good. But having the wherewithal to go against the grain. It's courage spreads too, just like compliance. The courage to defy spreads like wildfire. People go, yeah, I don't want to wear my mask either. Yeah, I don't want to do that thing. There's many cases where governments pass laws. There's quite a few laws in the books now that nobody follows. For one, it's hard to enforce, which they could, I guess. But they can pass all the laws they want. It's only actually really it's a law when everyone complies. If no one complies, it's not a law. So after a while, police, law enforcement are like, why even bother? I see that around here because speeding, everybody speeds. I'm talking speed. They love speed. For the most part, in the suburbs, people do the speed limit. But if somebody's in a hurry, they're going to go in speed. It's just the way it is. We have a sense of urgency about it. It's work. Got to get to the store. Got to whatever. Got to get on down the road, get my shit done, and get back so I can handle some other shit. So that's just the way we do. Yeah. So everybody speeds. Get on the highway, and people are doing 100 miles an hour, 60. Past me, doing 70. No big deal. So the way that you do what they don't want to lie, cheat, and coerce. Lie, cheat, steal, threatening.
Sorry about that. Experiencing technical difficulties. So, lie, cheat, steal, threaten, intimidate, and coerce. That's how you get shit done. You know. From a position of power, just having that power, that authority, projected power and authority, can go a long way. That's why we have the 2A. It is a perceivable power. Very good one, actually. It is the major obstacle that they have. But, you know, because when that goes off, you know, it's going to be a free-for-all. I mean, it really is. Free-for-all. It's wholesale death on your doorstep. It's going to be kind of hard to hide. But how to be defiant, how to be rebellious, yet still carry on with your life and have a life. That's hard. That's hard to do in a society which has, you know, norms and rules and regulations that everybody follows. You know, that's why we have stop signs. That's why we have, you know, all that shit. You know, it's mere suggestions for safe driving. That's why we have taxes. That's why we have, you know, all this crap. So being led to your death, you know, being led to your demise. So many studies and so many examples come about, you know. It's, you know, the human psyche is an amazing thing. We can do some amazing things. We are capable of amazing things. Look around you. I mean, look around you. As compared to the rest of the wildlife on this dirty little snowball, this dirty wet rock, we have achieved amazing things. But we're still flawed, and we're still governed by our emotions, and those dictate a lot of things that we do. Getting out of that emotional state, or getting past that emotional state, and doing the things that you need to do, doing the things that are right. Morals are very strong with those who have morals. Criminals, they have morals, of course they do, but they also are lacking a few, or they're willing to go above and beyond the moral standard, if you will, to get that risk and go through that risk and get the reward. You know, most people that are stood up, held up, robbed, you know, will tell you that it's a very fearful thing. You get a gun shoved in your face. You get this very intimidating person that you know, throws these commands at you and threatens you with death. And you freely give up your stuff. There you go. And then afterwards, you're like, shoulda, woulda, coulda. There are a lot of cases which you never hear about where the person being robbed says, no, not happening. Not happening today. Sorry. Not sorry. it's going to be something else. So, we think that there's when there's pressure, when you have this pressure, this constant push, this pressure, it's all implied. It's all implied. There's really no enforcement. You know, and that's another way of coercing is making examples out of people. You know, we see with the January 6th thing. Remember, folks were gaslighted and pulled into a trap, which they, you know, they did make a statement. They did. But a lot of things happened. And things were blown out of proportion, which that's going to happen when you get a bunch of angry people at their powers that be, at the authority. You know, they showed defiance, and they also had morals about it. But you know, of course, there were some other things that went on that, and now they ran with it. And they're like, oh well, we got to get these insurrectionists, oh, dangerous white supremacists. You know, okay, all right. So they have to make an example out of these people, and that in turn instills compliance with everybody else. See, look what we did with these insurrectionists. Boom, there you go. So anything that they do, you know, they know that all they have to do is just take out and publicize, you know, that these people paid a penalty for what we want you to do, and you will do this, or this is what's going to happen to you. You know, you show it to them. So having that courage to go through that risk to get the reward, or to sacrifice everything, sacrifice things to make a point. You know, you see that a lot of that in the terrorist organizations and the ideology. We've seen that with the ISIS thing. They would behead folks and videotape it, or fake it, whatever they were doing. You know, it's all a movie, right? But everybody's just making their own movie. Watch my movie. Watch my movie. Watch my movie. Yeah, okay. But they were able to, you know, a small group of people were able to rally a whole bunch of people to their cause. Ignorant as they may be, they still had created quite the threat. And they became quite dangerous. So, and that was, and they changed a lot of the face of the Middle East. You know, it was a little backwater kind of, well, no water. Anyway, however you want to describe the Haji thing, the Haji effect. But a lot of people lived in fear over all this. I can only imagine, man. And that was an authority imposing its will on the people, you know, for a reason, for an ideology, for a reward, and they, well, you know, they paid dearly. So no, that's it. But also, as long as everything is okay on the surface, you know, those who work in the shadows, behind the scenes, they know that there's this this big thing of social, getting everyone to go along with the plan. And that's the thing. And if you get enough people to go along with the plan, then you got something there. You got like this snowball effect. And even if there is a small little resistance or, guerrilla warfare kind of thing going on, and whatever, it doesn't have to be, an armed conflict. You can spot those folks, and deal with them accordingly. Even if it is just accusing them and condemning them, publicly. And you see a lot of that throughout a lot of cultures in the world. So we're no different. We're no different. And to eradicate our way of life, our morals, our American ethos, eroding away at it and chipping away at it. That's the thing, isn't it? And you do that with social media, with social interaction, and changing, winning the hearts and minds, or threatening, intimidating, and coercing the hearts and minds. So that's the thing about having a society. But societies rebel. Societies crumble. They all don't last. We like to think they do, but and what's a society? It's a group of people living together and making it work in relative peace and harmony. We have relative peace and harmony, but slowly but surely the screws are turning, and we can only speculate how bad it's going to get until the kite stream pops, until the balloon goes up. And that's the question, isn't it? And that's the question they're asking themselves too. How far can we intimidate, threaten, lie, coerce people, we the people, into doing what they want, until we've had enough? And do they back away? Or do they go forward? Do they go all in? Do they make an example? Do they push? Is there a major push? We have more guns in this country than we do people. Remember Just Josh talking about that. We do, and he threw out the demographics of it. 70% are Caucasian. 70% of gun owners are Caucasian. The rest, 30%, are the minorities. And that's the demographics of it. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you want to get a gun, you can. It doesn't matter what the laws are. Whatever you want, you can get in this country. I mean, think about that. If you really want something bad enough, you can get it. Whatever you want. Regardless of its legalities, and regardless of its morals and ethics, and whatever, it doesn't matter. You can get it. You want a gun, you can get a gun. I think everybody should have a gun. But some people shouldn't have guns, but whatever. You get my point. And there's close to close to half of the population are veterans. of some type or form. What does that mean? That means that there is not only veterans, but veterans, law enforcement, people that are trained, if you will, trained. You know, that's an interesting, word, trained. Having been trained as a past tense, that looks good on a life resume. I've been trained. I've been trained to use this or that. I've been trained to use a forklift. But are you training? That's a good question. Those who are trained still have to there's a, it's not like riding a bike. It's kind of like that. Kind of. You have that familiarity, and you've built up that muscle memory and that thought process and everything that you have to go through to use and do that stuff, those activities that you trained for. And you can train others with that knowledge. But it's just like football, just like baseball, basketball. I've been trained in football, baseball, and basketball. I'm not that good, but I can train people in the fundamentals of it. But I'm not going to be joining the NBA anytime soon. So no, training and being trained. Having been trained, it's great. Yeah, it's a great idea. It's good to have that knowledge. It's good to have that experience. Experience is the best teacher. And then using that training in a real life situation, having that experience of what happens, what works, and what doesn't work. Because that's the thing about being trained. You have been trained, you're in training, but if you really don't know if that training works or not, and how to evolve your training, unless you've actually went through what you were training for. That's how our medical profession has progressed and evolved. We were doing things. We were doing things to save lives and all this and that. And certain things worked rather well, but a lot of things didn't. So those get discarded, and these new things get implemented. And so that carries on. Same thing with anything. That's how you evolve, and that's get that real world experience. So, and a lot of us that have been trained and are training hope that we never have to use that training. Sadly. So, but ready to do so if necessary. But when is it necessary? That's the question. When is it necessary? You'll know. You'll fucking know. There'll be no question about that. So, there would be larger questions. Like, how do you get food? How do you get water? How do you keep from freezing to death? How do you keep from burning up? So, having these social interactions and everybody is so diverse. Nobody's on the same page. There are groups, but each group has their own little ideology, if you will, and that carries forward into division. Groups can get together that are semi like-minded, but there's always going to be some kind of division, some kind of bullshit, some kind of nobody's on the same paragraph, same page, much less the same paragraph. So how do we expect to carry on if, say, shift happens? Will shift actually happen? It won't if you have community. It won't if you have friends and like-minded individuals and people that help, and you yourself are willing to help as well. It's not going to... Shift will be just something that happened. Life will carry on. Community will carry on. Society will carry on. As it has in every shift event all across the world. So, I'm going to leave it here. It's Mad Shad, encouraging you all to continue to train, continue to prep, and think about shit. Because we all know it's a mad, mad world.